Yeah, I think something hit me like an epiphany yesterday. I really think so. A spare tire, right? Logic would think that, hey, oh, it's called a spare tire because oh, I have a spare, like I have something to spare. Like, baby, suck on my rib. um, But, well, I don't know. If you put barbecue sauce on, my stomach or rib, it's a different type of dry rub, baby. Oh, so thick and so sweet. But I actually think it's called a spare tire because you're only supposed to use it sparingly. I ain't gonna lie. Like, if I was at a bowling alley, I guess I'll just roll a tire down there spare it up. All right, Clint. And that one struck out. All right. Yep. Welcome to episode 187 of the Off and V Podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell on all apps. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. Oh, Jesus. My voice is cracking like a gay man's booty hole at a gay sauna. Jesus. But yeah, recording this at 10:29 p.m. Eastern on April, is it the 2nd or the 3rd? I don't know. It's a Sunday. But yeah, for the archives, date it. But yeah, I'll tell you what's really, so I was at a Dunkin' yesterday, shocker, and I went into the bathroom with my earbuds in, because my seat was like right next to the bathroom, which, by the way, I would never recommend sitting right outside of a bathroom because you could probably hear some things, and nothing's more awkward than when you walk out of a bathroom and someone who's sitting nearby just kind of looks at you and gives you those eyes like, I heard you. But what's more kind of out of place is when you're at the bathroom and you walk out after you're done doing bathroom things, and there's someone right there at the fucking door. Like, why can't you just wait like extra 5 feet away? Like, do you have to hear the faucet go for you to get excited to make sure I wash my hands? Like, it fucking matters anyways. Like, we're about to share, like, we basically shared the same toilet seat. It's almost like if someone that I deem to be clean, if they walk outside the bathroom, will I be more comfortable to sit on that toilet, freestyle, compared to someone who has a odor to them? And definitely, is a messy picker-upper. If they come out of the bathroom, will I be more apprehensive to go to the bathroom? The answer is neither. Because if you have to go, you have to go. Which is funny because actually someone at my job, it's a girl. And she was talking about how you would be surprised how disgusting a woman's bathroom can be. Like, the things you hear in there. I'm like, oh, I don't think you've ever been to a men's bathroom. Because the thing you hear in a men's bathroom where multiple men can be there at a time, well, I guess a single bathroom, multiple men can be in there at a time, but chances are they're probably not using the bathroom. They're probably using the side guardrails to hold on to something, but Which actually, when I was sitting on the toilet yesterday, I'm thinking like, are these guardrails to the left of me? Are they there if I'm like really taking an intense shit? Like, are they really there for me to hold on to? Or I'm assuming it's for, handicapped people per se. But that's not what I like to think. Because there was multiple rails there. But I was explaining to them, like, I don't think, all you would have to do is like just stand outside of a men's bathroom and just watch the type of men and watch the brief smell that will hit you when that door opens. And that's all you need to know. like, I'll say 70% of dudes don't wash their hands when they leave the bathroom. Like, at all. Like, oh, you know, it's like, oh, I didn't touch anything. It's like, yeah, but, yeah, please. But she said a woman's bathroom is absolutely, you would be surprised the things you hear in there. And look, as a man that used to have to clean women's bathroom, I have smelt the nasty used, you know, the separate garbage where they put the tampons and all that shit. And that is honestly maybe one of the worst smells I've ever smelled in my life. I think it actually fucked up my smell so much. That's why I don't smell a whole lot of things now. Because I'm very desensitized. But God, like, those, like, and why did they never put a garbage bag in those things? Like, they have this little container and they're like, we don't need to put a garbage bag. At most, they'll put like a Walmart bag in there. It's like, all right. But yeah, no, anyway, back to the main thing. But if I walk out of the bathroom at a public restroom and there's just this dude just waiting there, and then there's just like, they don't even let you like walk out and the door closed behind you. Like, it's like you're just walking past each other. Like, oh, hey. It's like, I haven't even like fully stepped out of the bathroom and this dude's already like walking into the bathroom. It's like, there's this awkward thing because now I'm going to go sit down. And what if he comes out and he looks at me because he just experienced or smells what I just did in there? It's kind of a weird thing that there's this mass judgment when the situations that happen in a bathroom should be, you know, like Planet Fitness. No judgment. Judgment-free zone. Except if you were in one of those bathrooms that have a urinal and, you know, the toilet stuff, and multiple dudes can go in there at a time, there's nothing funnier than when you're peeing and you're more self-conscious of whether you're farting while peeing than someone who's shitting and making the most blasphemy of noises ever. Like, recently, I'm not even kidding, I actually was peeing and I farted and I heard the dude in the stall with his pants down with his Air Force Ones laugh, like chuckle to himself because I farted while peeing. It's like, you haven't eaten vegetables in 2 weeks. And it feels like it. Like, you can tell when you're around people that don't eat half the food groups. Like, so I don't know what people be eating these days, but the way people shit, the things you hear, the splash and dash and crash, like it makes me get a rash. I'm just, you know, it's weird how people that, like, if you're a dude and you're in a vulnerable position, sitting on the toilet, and I'm upright in a powerful urinal position, and you have the audacity to laugh at me for, you know, passing a little gas while your ass is probably, you know, catching some things in there. I don't know. But that whole thing, it was just like, what? Well, what is going through people's mind where they're just like looking at you walking out? Like, they give you these eyes like, what took so long? It's like, what do you think took long, huh? And he took longer in there than me because he was in there a good 7 minutes. Yeah. Good shit. Oh, it was. And I realized also, by the way, public restroom toilet paper always makes my booty hole itch. Like, it's one of those things where I'm not even gonna lie, like, I have a weird technique in public restrooms. I actually stand up to wipe my ass. I don't care. I admit it. Because I am not, you know, public toilets are very small. Like, they make the seat so small. Like, most people nowadays, you know, based off the numbers, most people are pretty bigger. So why don't we make toilets bigger to accommodate us bigger people? I have a fat ass. I draw fat shit sometimes. I need extra room. I don't have to clench my cheeks to let it leak. Like, but, so, like, I'm not going to, try to navigate my right hand in between there, because I'm not using my left hand. I do not trust my left hand to take care of that, all right? Certain things, I want balance. I want to be ambidextrous. Like, you know what? Some things you need to stick with the hand that you know, all right? And wiping your ass is one of them. Stick with the hand that goes and has great muscle memory. And, well, I don't know. If your muscle memory is a little too good back there, I may think you may be a little too good at something else, too. Nothing wrong with that. But, yeah, I stand, like, in public restrooms, because those things are one. The toilet paper in public restrooms, they are very thin. They're very thin. They feel, like, very powdery. They feel dusty. And assholes, I don't know about women, but assholes don't even know how to, like, roll it down right. Like, they'll just tear half a thing, and, like, half the thing, you have to roll it down to make it even again. It's like, what the? Then you're, like, wasting all this toilet paper. You feel bad for the custodian lady or guy who has to, restock this stuff and the soap, and people are just being ignorant ass wipes with it. No pun intended. Ass wipes. Woo. I guess it's a clean slate after all. All right. But, yeah, I stand up and, because I don't know if you guys, sometimes my booty hole is like Tinder. It's just this never-ending swipe. And I'm just swiping and swiping and swiping. It's just like, ever have those shit? Like, there's two types of shits. There's no in between anymore in my life. There's the type of shits where it's such a clean, pure shit that you wipe and literally, like, nothing's there. It's like, shit, it all came out. I barely have to, there's nothing there for me to wipe. Not even a little after, swipe. Then there's the ones where it's like, you're swiping for like 4 minutes. Like, Jesus Christ, you're doing this angle, that angle. Sometimes you get a little too deep in there with a finger or two. Like, Jesus, get out of here, kid. And nothing's worse than when you're in public and when you have to do that. And you have this phobia because it's happened on you twice where the doors at these establishments don't even lock. So people walking in on you. I've had it happen twice. One time a dude walked on me sitting down on the toilet, pants completely down. I may have even had my shirt above my chin like a bib. And he probably saw my stomach roll. I was like, yep, this is happening. And look. I'm a clean shitter, so I wasn't worried about if I was like in the middle of an explosion. But hey, Pompeii, baby. I just already have that. So now I have this phobia where, what if I'm standing up wiping my ass as a man in a vulnerable position, and then someone walks in on that? Because that looks completely wild. I understand being a tall man of a certain build. I understand. That is a very questionable at best. I don't think Hercules, I don't think Hades, I don't think any of these Greek gods would ever be seen in the light of day wiping their ass standing up. Because it's like, you sometimes you're digging at weird angles. It's like, all right, But, yeah. 14 minutes in and I've just talked about shitting. I guess this pod is going down the drain. But I gotta admit, one of the best things about Sundays and Fridays now, at least the previous couple weeks, is I've actually been watching a lot of women's basketball. And that's the thing I never thought I would say. Because it's always on at the gym. Like, on Sundays, there's nothing good on TV. So they just put, women's college basketball. But it also happens to be March Madness and all this stuff. And I got to say, this Caitlin Clark girl, she's like, she actually looks like she can legitly move and play. Like, that, I would not want to 1v1 that girl. She would actually probably cross me over like 3 times. Like, no cap. Like, she can actually dribble. She can get to her spots. she's actually legitimately like Steph Curry. Like, I'm not like typically you could watch a women's game and be like, oh, this is so like lethargic. That's a long setup for a shot that would just get that shit packed in by any 14-year-old guy. But she's actually got like, she's fluid. Like, I like a woman that's fluid. In conversation, of course. But this girl, she like, holy shit. And apparently they lost today in the finals. She still dropped 30 points. She still played amazingly well. But, you know, just kind of overpowered, I guess. But, I don't know. Something about watching. I was like, I actually clicked on a women's basketball highlights and watched it. And I was actually like impressed. Like, she was scoring at all levels of the court. She was driving, doing kind of a layup, a hook. She even did a hook shot somewhere. She like crossed over the 6'7" girl like in the middle of the court and like just change of direction, dropping threes from a distance in many different type of way, moving the ball around, assist and transition. I'm like, holy shit. I'm not a scout, but she's the number one pick. But yeah. I was actually invited recently to start playing pickup again. Like, someone actually wanted me, not a 2v2 tournament, but he's like, hey, you know, typically in the springtime, you know, they started doing like these pickup games where it's like kind of orchestrated where, you know, they kind of do these like tournaments and stuff. And, you know, he's like, I know you used to play back in the day. You played AAU and stuff. And so it's like, hey, if you like to, you know, I like to, he's like, you're a big fella. You can rebound. I was like, oh, I can rebound. All right. Because I'm down to go get her some boards. Sorry, Drake. I had to take it from you. So I had to do it to him. But, yeah. And I haven't picked up a basketball in like 4 or 5 years. I don't know anyone that's ever played basketball. Really anything that involves skill. You can't just not do something for 4 or 5 years and just like pick it up back up in a week. Like, and I don't have time. And I don't really have the time to sit there and work on my game for 3 hours a day. Like, you know, like the hassle of even driving somewhere to play. And there may be room to play, there may not be. And it's like, you know, I don't know. But part of me is like kind of intrigued to do it. And part of me is like, do I ever really want to pick up a basketball again? Because nothing's more deflating than when you used to be pretty damn good at something and you pick it back up and you're like, oh, Jesus, I'm an old man now. And I'm not an old man, but I'm an older man. I'm closer to 30 than 20. Like, that's just reality. Now, look, I keep good care of myself, so I don't think I'm going to be one of those, like, the second I hit 30, I'm going to have knee problems and this problem, back problems. Like, I think that'll probably be when I'm 36. But, yeah, the whole thing of, like, when you start feeling older, I've already started feeling some ways. Like, I actually have to manufacture and eat well to have energy. I can't just wake up and industrialize internal energy because of my young sproutness. Like, that's not a thing anymore. I actually have to eat well. I actually have to sleep. I actually have to operate like a fucking old man just to make doing daily stuff manageable. So in that way, I kind of am an old man. I have aged. In some ways it's good. But, you know, playing it like, I can't just sit there and play some pickup basketball, get in a fight on the court, get punched in the face, then have to go to work and explain, yeah, you know, I was really aggressively rebounding a guy, and he kind of punched me in the face. Like, it's like, what am I doing with my life at that point? It's like, I can't be risking this sexy, fine specimen of a man to lose my pretty boy face. Because where I would be playing would not be in the likes of my complexion, more than likely. Based off what he told me. But he's like, if you're good, you're good. That's all that matters. I'm like, yes, it's all that matters. But also, when you look like me in certain environments, you can also be a target. You're basically target practice because, the reality is when you're the white dude on the court, you are the white dude. You're considered the bitch ass white dude until you prove otherwise. This is kind of how it's looked at. Like everyone's the automatic assumption when you're a white dude on the court, right, is that you're soft. And there's a reason, because a lot of white dudes, not real white dudes specifically, but in certain environments, they're used to playing in certain environments depending on where you play type of thing. And there's different environments require different tenacity, require a different mindset, requires different things. But like, hey, don't try too hard in this because someone might, level you when you drive to the basket. Like, I've actually seen that happen firsthand when I played pickup. I think I was like 19 or 20, and I went and played pickup somewhere, like outside, not on the streets, but like, it was like a outside court type of thing, and it was many different people. And I saw this dude because he was talking shit to this one dude because he kept blowing past him, and he was working him. But the problem is when someone gets tired of you talking shit and you drive to the basket and you try to do some cool reverse layup, and he basically elbows you in the neck and you're down for 4 minutes. People think you're paralyzed in the neck. I saw that and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to talk shit. I'm not a shit talker anyways, but you don't make yourself more of a target than you already are, right? Because when you're the best player or the worst player on the court, you are a target. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe because maybe I'm a little bit stronger and bigger now. So if someone wants to try me, they can try to back that ass up in the post. That sounded gay as hell. But hey, nothing wrong with that. And I haven't posted it yet, but I know the last episode. Well, actually, no, I did post it. The episode I talked about the HIV and gay people. I'm sure that's not going to sit well with people, but hey, it is what it is. I always put it like this, right? When you talk about certain things like that. Honestly, if you were to have a child today, you may be okay if your child ends up being X, Y, and Z. I don't even want to say it. You may learn to love and be okay with it, but that's not what your ideal plan for them would be. Because you don't want life any harder in your kids than it's already going to be. So when you create these exterior barriers, that there's just another thing they're going to have to overcome, and they're like, oh, well, that'll just make them stronger. And they're living their truth. It's like, yeah, your truth doesn't have to be that goddamn difficult all the time, sometimes the truth can actually be very simple. It's like, hey, I don't want these problems. I don't want these extra problems preventing me to get to my destination. I just want to get to my destination. Why take the back road when it'll be 40 minutes when you could hop on this nice little interstate and take 15 minutes? And that's the thing is, and I know people don't want to say it, and most parents aren't going to say it because it's kind of but we all have ideal preferences of what we envision. Like, we envision our children growing up and getting married and having kids and being with a beautiful wife or a husband and all that stuff. Like, when you look at your child outside the womb, you're not like, hey, I really hope I really hope that he's a pansexual. Like, nah, like no one, even pansexuals don't really look at their kid like, I can't wait till they struggle with their identity. Get LifeLock, baby. Because your life is on lockdown. But no one's like, God, I hope my child finds that being asexual is the way to be. I hope my child you don't go, that's not the preference route you go to. I just kind of think that it's not about being anti a certain lifestyle. It's just you wouldn't bring things into this world and make their life unnecessarily more difficult if it doesn't have to be. Like, if you could provide a good living situation for your children, then why wouldn't you? If you could provide a better structure for your children, why wouldn't you? You're not going to have $80,000 in the bank and be like, you know what? We're going to live in project housing because I want my kid to understand struggle. It's like, no, you know what? You find ways to create struggle. How about that? You know, have rules and guidelines and all that shit. You don't like put in a life altering situation and make someone's life hella difficult when it doesn't have to be. So I just don't want my son being fucked in the ass. I don't think that's crazy. Now there's anything wrong with that. You know, if he does, then you know what? It's his choice, and I'll love him to the day, you know, he gets a colonoscopy. But no, seriously, I would still love my child, and I would not treat him any differently. But I would be honest and be like, this is not how I thought. Doesn't mean I'm disappointed. It just means it's hitting different, and things are hitting different inside of you. All right, Clint. But yeah, that's all I'll say about that. Nothing wrong with that. Not every time, you know, I was actually thinking about this on this topic. Not every time someone doesn't want a lifestyle doesn't mean they're fill in the blank phobic. It just means that that's just not how they operate. It doesn't mean they're phobic. Like, I'll put it like this, right? Like, I'm not anti-alcohol, but I would not want my kids to be an alcoholic. I'm not anti fast food, but I would not want my kids to be eating fast food every night. And I understand those are very granular. I understand those are very non-real. I mean, those are actually very real things because a bad habit of those can fuck up your life a lot. But I think that there just needs to be a more understanding that just because someone wouldn't want that lifestyle for them or their kids, that doesn't necessarily mean they don't want. That doesn't mean that they necessarily are against it per se. So, it's kind of annoying when everything is fill in the blank phobic. Because anyone that's so pro gay, pro trans, pro whatever, would you go to those environments where you're the one person that's not that and feel comfortable? I don't think you would. I think it's more likely that someone who's gay would feel more comfortable being the only gay person in an environment full of straight people than vice versa. More than likely. I could be wrong. But I think it's easier to adapt, right? Where if you're the only straight person, there's this weird fetish to try to convert straight people to be gay. And kind of like get that out of you. Like, everyone's like those. Everyone's got a little gay in them. It's like everyone's got a little gay to them. Like, do a little questionable thoughts and things, but not actually doing things. You know, like the argument can be, dude, geez, this is going down a weird rabbit hole. Like, technically, if you're a guy and you like getting your ass ate, does that make me think that you probably would like other things in your ass? Maybe. But, you know, to each their own. It may be a questionable trait, but I don't discriminate. I don't judge. Well, everyone judges, but you know what I mean. I just think that there are things that we could be into, and just because it's performed by a heterosexual couple or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the most straight thing you could be doing. Like, if you're a guy and you like to get pegged by your wife or girlfriend, you know, I know technically you're not gay because you haven't had a human flesh penis inside of you, but you're not far from it. It's as close as it gets. All right, I don't know where I'm going with this. I think I'm just gonna stop talking about it. But yeah, moral of the story is don't tell me how to raise my kids, and keep your salad identifying Leslie away from me. Yeah, they took that fruit salad yummy to a whole new literal level. Yeah. But yeah. I've officially hit over the 200 mark, like, consistently for a couple days now. I'm officially over 200 pounds, which means I am overweight, probably. At least by the number, the BMI stuff, the stuff that matters. Oh, well, numbers don't lie. It's like, yeah, you know what? Put another dude that's 6'1", 200 pounds next to me. I guarantee it may look a little different. But technically, by the numbers, we're both the same. We're both the same, but yet we don't get treated the same. Damn. I would say that's bars, but I feel like that's been said a lot of times before. But it just, I think it just goes to show that not everything that's deemed as exact on paper, that doesn't necessarily mean it translates to real life. You have two. It's like when you see those pictures of someone who they're the same height and same weight, and I watch a lot of working out fitness channels and kind of entertainment influencer channels. I admit it. And they'll do a side by side of one dude who's a lot more leaner, but he's big as fuck in terms of like how much he benches and stuff. He'll be like 5'10", 180, and he's standing next to someone who's like 5'11", 185, but the dude's 5'10", 180, looks hella bigger, much leaner, and more ripped. Now, some of that's genetics and stuff like that, but side by side, they're doing the posing side by side. The one dude is noticeably, visibly bigger, even though he weighs less. And like, it could be like his arm length, his muscle insertions and stuff like that. But if you were just to write down on paper 5'10", 180, you just probably think, oh, it was a regular looking person, regular looking dude of a certain age, right? Like, oh, okay. Probably this, probably that, but probably nothing special. And that's kind of what bothers me about when we just see metrics of things. Ah, shit, I just dropped my cup. That was so random. But that's why when there was someone at work, I know I mentioned a lot about work, but a lot of people actually ask me some stuff at work because they assume I'm like a personal trainer or something, which I appreciate the compliment. But trust me, I'm not. Well, I mean, I could always overcharge you for common sense advice that you could go on YouTube or anywhere else to find, and I could do that. But someone told me, they asked me, like, how much, you do like triathlon, like running and shit like that, because, you're kind of like, you're fit, but you're strong. You're not like, and like, I actually don't run at all, which I probably should, honestly. They're like, yeah, but how do you lose weight or maintain weight and get stronger and change your body? It's like, it's all about, body proportions. It's all about your training for what you want your body to look like. It's really that simple. There's this assumption that cardio helps with fat loss. It does. But you can only do so much. It only has such a minimal effect on actual fat loss, to be honest. Like, adding, I'll say specifically for dudes, but even women, adding muscle will make you, with a decent diet, will make you look a lot more leaner, even if you're putting on more weight. Because people say, oh, you got really lean. It's like, actually, I've added weight. And there's this misnomer, I guess is the better way. When the person I just don't want to be running on a treadmill for an hour a day. I was like, you shouldn't. It's actually not good to do that. Unless you're actually training for marathons or you're training to actually run and shit like that. Like, there's no need for you to be doing that. Especially the more you weigh, and if you're trying to lose weight, the danger of running so much is you're putting all that current weight on your body. And for the payout, the wear and tear on your body you have to do, it's not really worth when there's most of your weight loss or whatever is going to be through your diet and any type of strength training program, to be honest. That's where most of your fat loss is going to happen. That's the thing that people don't really want to tell you. Because I've tried, this is why I don't take fitness advice from people that are like 21, 22 and younger. I'm not saying you should take it from me. I will typically always take it from someone who's like 35 and older. Because they have gone through someone's 35 and older, but they've worked out or exercised predominantly their whole life. Because they've gone through the trials and errors of being this way, trying this, and putting so much effort into this and that, and that. And what you realize is it's actually very few things you have to do, but they're the hardest things to do. And that's eat well, eat correctly, per se. Essentially, don't drink anything but water and very low calorie stuff. And effort. That's really all it is. If you follow those things, 99% of people would get results that they want. And that's what I was telling this person. Because I was on break and they were like, man, I just try and try, but just like... And I asked them, because I see it like, all right, I see you eating this every day. You eat the food that's here. You're eating these White Castle burgers. You're eating, these packaged cheeseburger, these Hot Pockets and shit. And I get, sometimes we're in a rut, all this stuff. But it's like, this is not doing anything for you. This is not giving you energy to do your work. This is not fueling your body for the work you put in. It's actually underfueling it. So then you got to overcompensate. You're going to be eating even worse food to compensate for what that food didn't do for you. And I was like, look, I get it. It's hard to make time to cook. It's hard to get the diet and all that stuff right. But if you're asking me, I'm telling you, you do X, Y, and Z, cook at home more often, all your problems will be solved. Not all of them, but relatively. Because I think I was watching some and reading, and I kind of already know this, but there's only actually so much, like there's a cap. Whether that's weight training on strength you gain and calories you're burning. There's only so much weight. There's only so much fat your body can lose in a day and survive. And there's only so much muscle you can add on before you're actually deteriorating from overtraining it. Where at some point you actually overtrain it, or just what you're doing is not really adding anymore. You've already reached your maximum stimuli that muscle is going to activate that day. Like, doing more in a day doesn't necessarily mean more gains. You just got to go intense and hit it enough to where I did this, and then the process starts, if you want that muscle to recover and grow, to eat, sleep, let it recover, and that's how you actually start growing at a faster pace. And then when it comes to fat loss, as I was telling this guy, it's like, yeah, you gotta put more time and effort into it. And I know that's hard for people. I know that's not always realistic, especially people with kids, people who are working like crazy amount of hours in the day and all that. Like, I get it. But you're asking me, and I'm telling you. And I'm a believer that if something's important enough, you will make time to make it happen or do it. Or it may take time. It may not be the right timing to start stuff. But I think people just think if they keep asking enough people and they just keep asking different points, like they ask someone else next week and who's knowledgeable. I think they just keep looking for different answers to try to find the easiest path or the most realistic, or like, oh, all these things it must not be right. It's like it's going to be, you ask me 2 months from now, same stuff. And I think a lot of people, what I've noticed, they just kind of seek answers that they don't know the answer to, but they know the answer that they wish was the answer. Oh, damn, look at Clint putting shit together. I think people, and I get it, we seek answers that we wish were the answer because it would make more sense. We're told something our whole lives, or a great part of life, and then we get older and we're like, what do you mean cardio doesn't matter? Not that it doesn't matter, but for what you're trying to do, it's not really the most important thing. It's an accessory to get that going. And gee, why am my jaw clogging up? Jesus, I feel like my jaw's numbing. I feel so numb. But me included, I've noticed this about myself, like about certain things, and it's like I know the answer, and I know it's a very hard answer, uncomfortable answer. But I keep thinking, like, maybe if I wait till tomorrow to validate that answer, maybe the answer will be different tomorrow. Maybe there'll be some new study. Maybe there'll be some new reasoning I could justify, and logically fallacy, or whatever you want to call it. And I think the older you get, you realize that a lot of answers will never change over time. The answer will always be the same to your question. You just may be at a time in your life where you're ready to hear it, not ready to hear it, actually willing to process it. And typically what causes is desperation causes people to actually accept the answer because they have no other choice. A lot of people, we hit rock bottom in life. We hit points in life that we can't really, where it's like, look, if you don't want to do it now, it's not going to happen because it may be too late at some point. Or you may have caused irreversible damage to something. So, I just, that fine line would look. If someone asked me, if they were to ask me again 2 weeks from now, I'd be nice and tell them, like, yeah, you just got to do this, that. Everything is much more simpler than it is difficult. It's not about doing 20 exercises in a session. It's about doing 5 good exercises and maximizing those sets that you do with those exercises. That's why when people say it's time consuming, it's only time consuming if you don't really put intensity. If you're really intense and diligent in what you're doing, and this isn't even working out, I mean anything. You put your full attention and detail into something, you will get results way faster than just kind of lollygagging, just kind of going by what you feel and all this stuff. It's like, no, you gotta have a sense of direction and what the fuck you're doing. Yeah, I know I'm rambling too much right now, but yeah, I just kind of want to make people feel like, look, I'm a success story, not in the literal sense, but I'm a transformative success. You dare speak to me of success? Well, I do successfully do things very quickly sometimes. I was in a hurry, babe. But no. But yeah, I guess the moral of all that is, for those who don't change, you might want to change your underwear once in a while. All right. Because we're going streaking. All right. That was episode 187 of the Off and Be podcast. And the only reason I'm stopping because the bottom of my jaw is feeling really numb right now. Probably really dehydrated. But yeah, don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell on all apps. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. And yeah, have a great day and night and morning. And that's why her pussy's throbbing. Alright, Clint, shut up. Alright, have a good one. Cream de la creme, homie. Ooh, nice titties, Clint.